Does truth exist?
Because you have faith, does that make this book true?
Does God exist?
So when someone says there is no truth, if you apply the claim to itself, what should you say? Is that true? They don't think Christianity's true. They're talked out of it. You know why they're talked out of it? Because they've never been talked into it.
Cross-examining skeptical and atheistic views. Welcome to Cross-Examine with Dr. Frank Turek.
Every year, ladies and gentlemen, I go to Israel and I look for one man to be my guide. It is Israeli archaeologist Eli Shukron. And I've talked about Eli before on this program. In fact, when I came back from Israel in April of this year, I did a whole program on what we saw and how Eli led us through the country. But it's a great privilege to have Eli in the studio with me right here in Charlotte, North Carolina. Eli, how are you?
Fantastic. Beautiful weather, you know. Charlotte is just amazing.
It is. Charlotte's beautiful.
Charlotte is beautiful.
Now, you came to the United States a couple of weeks ago. You went to HBU, Houston Baptist.
Yeah, I've been in Houston, then I've been in Florida. Mm-hmm. Oh, flying from Florida to Idaho.
Idaho.
You know, what's Idaho? You know, it's amazing. You know, there's long way to the left. This is Idaho.
Yeah, you went to Idaho to visit with our mutual friend Rhonda Sand, who organizes all of our trips from livingpassages.com. And then you came here because we wanted you to be here in Charlotte to speak at Life Fellowship Church, and also to speak to our TV show, which you and I spoke to the church Sunday, and then we spoke to my TV show, and we also spoke to the fire school over there with our friend Dr. Michael Brown. But I wanted to not only have you on the TV, I want to have you on the radio. Now, it's going to be hard for us to describe what Eli has discovered in Israel without pictures. It's radio, friends. We'll do our best. But if you want to really see this, you got to tune into our TV program, because probably in about a month or so, we're going to air the program that Eli and I just did at Life Fellowship Church here north of Charlotte. And what Eli has done in Israel, particularly the city of David, is unprecedented. Nobody else has done this. Nobody else has discovered what Eli has discovered. In fact, I was just on a flight a few days ago coming back from Colorado, Eli, and I had a book. It's a brand new book put out by Zondervan, which is a big publisher here in the United States. And it's called The Biblical Handbook of Archaeology, or the Handbook of Biblical Archaeology. And I noticed they had a table in there, Eli, and they had 12 major discoveries about the Old Testament found in the city of Jerusalem. And Eli, you discovered 5 of them.
Yeah, it's amazing, you know. I didn't know that I found 5 there, you know.
You did.
Yeah, you know, I'm just walking, doing my job, doing my excavation, and that's it, you know. Whatever happens. So, but yes.
It's a lot more than that.
Yes.
Before we talk about the discoveries you made, and it's not just Old Testament, it's New Testament as well. Before we talk about the discoveries, let's learn a little bit about you. You actually didn't grow up in Jerusalem. You grew up in Tiberias.
Yeah.
You're Elijah from the Galilee.
I'm from the Galilee, you know. Imagine I'm sitting in Charlotte, Frank, and you're talking with the guy that came from the Galilee.
Right where Jesus spent most of his time.
Yeah, Galilee. It's a beautiful place.
Oh, it is.
The Sea of Galilee. I was raised around the Sea of Galilee in the city of Tiberias, you know. And it's a beautiful area. And, you know, Tiberias, it's not just a city. It's an ancient city that built by King Herod Antipas in the beginning of the 1st century AD. Just amazing, you know.
Yes.
So when I grew up, what you see around yourself, around where you are, a lot of archaeology. There's a lot of history around us.
Well, when you took us to Capernaum, which is, I think, my favorite spot in Jerusalem, Capernaum is where Jesus spent most of his time. It's kind of his adopted hometown after Nazareth. I mean, you grew up not more than a 15-minute, 20-minute walk from Capernaum. You could walk there from Tiberias almost.
Yeah. You know, it's very close. Everything is close.
A half-hour walk, maybe. Yeah.
It's close. I just want to tell you, Frank. 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Who cares about that? You know what we're talking about. But yes, I was growing very close to the Capernaum, very close to this area. You know, and we're talking about the Sea of Galilee. We're talking about the fishermen in the Sea of Galilee. What the experience of the fishermen in the Sea of Galilee. And you know that in the Sea of Galilee, most of the fishermen walking at night. Not walking at night. They're walking at night. But from the other end,
they're working at night, right?
Yeah, they're working at night. Yeah. But from the other end, you know, what's happening here what's happening here, it's that, as a child going with his father, like in America, Charlotte or whatever, you're going to, in Israel, it's Sabbath time, that you're not working. So you're going out with your father, going fishing in the Sea of Galilee with net. What does it look like? Okay? So
you're fishing at night. You're working
fishing
at night. Yeah.
You're working at night. But what we did, we just going and doing a fishing in the Sea of Galilee. Think about the fishermen in the Sea of Galilee. Think about the fishermen in 2,000 years ago. Think about the fishermen today. We're fishing the same fish.
Yeah, St. Peter's fish. Yeah.
Yeah, the fish didn't change. Okay, so what are we talking about? The fish is the same fish, and the Sea of Galilee is the same Sea of Galilee. So when you look on the Sea of Galilee today, it's the same Sea of Galilee that was there before 2,000 years ago.
Yes, it is. And one thing Israel has done very well is they have not commercialized the Sea of Galilee too much. They've left it very rural, very rustic. So you got Capernaum there, you got Chorazin there, you got where Jesus gave the Sermon on the Mount, you got Bethsaida there, you got Tiberias, which Jesus never was in. Magdala's right there. Yeah. It's just beautiful. Absolutely
just amazing. And this is where I was, Think about that, Frank. You every morning you're living in the Galilee, Frank from the Galilee, and you're walking in the morning every day, and you see in your face the Sea of Galilee.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Every day, all your life.
Yeah,
it's amazing. It's amazing, just amazing
so
to be there.
You and I are the same age, and we're both 56, almost 57, and you graduated high school from Tiberias High School, and then you went into the army because you have to go in the army in Israel, and you fought in Lebanon, didn't you?
Yeah, I know. I was, after the high school, you must go to the army because this is the mandatory rules in Israel.
Yep.
And, my daughter also, she was in the army, so she finished before a few months ago. But this is the way of the life in Israel. That, our neighborhood, it's not so nice neighborhood. No. What we can do? So we need to protect ourselves.
You do.
I was in the army, and of course, you must understand that when I was growing up, when I was in kindergarten, the war 6 days started.
The 6-day war, 1967. Yeah.
I was in kindergarten, You see the airplane and you're there. And then after a few years later, what's happening? 73, another war.
Yeah.
And when which age you are? 13 years old. So you're jumping after high school, you're going to the army, and another war. But this is what's happened to the land, of Israel.
I don't mean to laugh about war, but it's constant over there.
Yeah. Right? But in '82, I was in Lebanon. I was in the war, and of course, you get all the war experience, and different kind of war experience, and then. After the army, I finished the army, and then back to Tiberias, to my hometown, and after a while there, working with my dad, and then
your mother had other plans.
Yeah. She had the plan. No, the mother always had the plan. They don't tell us all the secret. So from there, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I start to. My studies in the Hebrew University in Jerusalem.
And you studied archaeology.
I studied archaeologists and the Jewish history from the First Temple. It's mean from the Old Testament, or from the First Temple period, from the Second Temple period. This was my most of my education in the Jewish history in the university. So then after you finish the university, what are you doing? You're flying to America to do a tour.
Oh, you did
in 1988. So 1988, I was in America doing a tour and being around and walking and buying car and traveling all America, from New York all the way to LA.
Wow.
It was a great tour. It means that we finish one thing in our life, the study life, and then we're moving to our new life. It's the working life.
So people in Israel are just like people in America. After they finish school, they want to go find themselves for a couple of months and not work, and that's apparently what you did.
But I didn't want to find myself. Already I found myself. So what we need to do, just to enjoy our time, our freedom.
All right. Well, we're going to talk about what you did right after that, because what you did is unprecedented in Israeli archaeology. We're going to learn a lot about from Eli Shukron, a lot about Israel, the city of David, even something related directly to Jesus. So don't go away. I'm Frank Turk with Eli Shukron. Back in 2.
Thank you for listening to the Cross-Examined podcast. This material is made available to you for free by the contributions of listeners like you. If you wish to support future podcasts, just go to crossexamined.org and click on the donate button, or simply use the donate feature directly on our app. Thanks.
What can archaeology tell us about the Bible? There couldn't be a better guy to talk to about that than my friend Eli Shukron, who excavated most of the city of David himself between 1995 and 2013. Eli spent 18 years excavating. And you're probably asking yourself, what's the city of David? Well, before we get there, you're listening to Cross-Examine with Frank Turek on the American Family Radio Network website, crossexamined.org. That's cross-examined with a D on the end of it, .org. And my friend Eli, as I say, started excavating in the city of David. Now, what's the city of David? It's about a 10-acre peninsula to the south of the old wall of Jerusalem. It was Jerusalem in David's day. The Temple Mount, the Dome of the Rock, all that stuff you see when you see pictures of Jerusalem didn't exist in David's day. What existed was the city of David, 10 acres to the south of the old city wall. Now, Eli, what happened in you started excavating in 1995. We'll go back to some of that, but I want to talk about what happened in 2004 at the very bottom of the city of David.
Yeah, this is very interesting, because the bottom of the city of David and it's in the south side of the city of David. Is the connection between the Capernaum Valley, the valleys of Jerusalem, Capernaum Valley, that crossing Jerusalem in the middle. It started in Damascus Gate. It's north of Jerusalem.
Yep.
All the way to the Capernaum Valley. And in that point that the Capernaum Valley and the Capernaum Valley connected, because the Capernaum Valley is the valley that's between Mount of Olives, Mount Moriah, city of David.
Right.
And the Capernaum Valley going all the way to the Dead Sea. It's very, very important, that kind of location. But in before the Capernaum Valley connected to the Capernaum Valley, this is a very, very interesting area. Why it's a very, very interesting area? Because this is the deepest area in the city of David.
The deepest?
From there you connected to the Capernaum Valley.
Okay.
And, in Israel, we have a rain season, we have a dry season.
Uh-huh.
So in 2002, it was a huge rain season in Israel. So all the all the sewage pipe was full of water. And what's happening in that time, all the area of the Pool of Siloam, or the asphalt from the road was starting to move up, and they need to fix it.
Right.
But they don't just need to fix that, they need to fix everything, all the pipe that was below that street. So what they did, the municipality planned a plan to do some, to change this pipe, concrete pipe, to a different pipe. And of course, that everywhere in Jerusalem, when you're doing some project, you must have some supervisor archaeologist to be there to look, to search about that.
Okay.
And the story was, it's very, very funny story, because they start to walk there to dig this area, and it was archaeologists there that would watch, but no one seen nothing, and they get to the end of that digging with a bulldozer. So I heard about that because I was walking close to the spring.
The spring of Gihon, not far from there.
Gihon spring. We're talking about around like 2,000 feet. It's not a big deal.
Not that far away.
Not that far away. I was there. I was walking all the way to the Pool of Siloam, and just to take photos, to look around. It's just to, something in my inside, in my body, tell me, okay, let's go, let's see, let's take some picture, let's look around. And I just walking there, taking a picture, No more than that, because I didn't charter that area. So
you weren't in charge of that area, but you were an archaeologist, and you go down there because they're digging. And what do you hear?
And what I'm here, I'm seeing the bulldozer walking, and I'm here the bulldozer scratching the stone. I didn't know what kind of stone. You must understand, in this area was a lot of workers and a lot of people around. So I believe that everyone here on the scratching stone, but no one pay attention that may something there, maybe made something below that dirt. So what I did, because I'm an archaeologist, people know me, they're around, and I told them, okay, let's stop. I told them, stop, because I heard something. Let's check it. If there's something, fine. If not, also fine. Let's see what's going on.
Yeah, you hear the scratching of this big rock down there.
Yeah. I thought that it can be a rock, it can be some stone, it can be everything. Right. So what? Let's check it. Let's see if there's something important or not important. We will see. Right. So what I did, I started to check it.
And you began to
dig. After a while, I began to clean the dirt. And after a while, what I found, 3 steps. And I said, okay, 3 steps, built very nice, And so, oh, wow, where we are, what was going here? So I told them to stop. And I made a call to all the other people around to come, to see, to look, to talk, to see what's going on, to understand. Maybe we need to check this area before they are going to put the pipe.
Right.
So, after a while, let's do some checking. Not open all the area, just check the area to see if there's continuation of that stairs. Which way, where that stairs going to?
So you started to dig some more.
So I started to dig. They gave me permission to dig for 2 weeks, 10 days.
All right.
And I started to walk for 10 days. And what I found there, I found 10 stairs going all the way to the bottom of the valley.
Wow.
And the stairs going to the north and to the south. It's the whole continuation of that stairs all over. Wow. This is very, very interesting. Let's continue work there, okay? So we get the permission to continue to open that kind of area, and we continue opening and see more stairs that go into the middle of the valley. And what that stairs doing there? What is the meaning of that stairs?
How big was the whole area by the time you were done, Eli?
It's not so big, just in north part. So it's not a big area, but the question was, first, and it was a very, very important question, where we are in the time. Which period we are? Who built that kind of stairs? Because if we understand, if we knew that this built in the 1st century, or if built in the Byzantine church, if it's the Byzantine period, wherever we are in the time, they give us to understand if we can connect it to the story that mentioned in the Bible.
So you found some coins. And the first set of coins you found from the 1st century BC?
Yeah.
And then the second set of coins where you thought the building had stopped was from the 1st century AD. And those coins from the 1st century AD, you said were rebel coins printed by Jews who were trying to rebel against the Romans. In what year?
We're talking about, as you say, we have coins that found in the cement between the stone that date to the, let's say, to the beginning of the 1st century BC.
Right.
Okay? And then we have coins that go to what you say, to the revolution against the Roman. We have a coin from 67, 68, 69. And this is and the story there, why it's end, because the Roman destroyed the temple. So no reason to have a pool there. So these stairs take us to the story about what's mentioned in the Bible. And in this fact, story...
Yeah, let's read the story.
This story, it's a great story. Let's read the story.
We're going to John chapter 9, ladies and gentlemen. You're listening to Frank Turek and my guest, Israeli archaeologist Eli Shukron, who discovered what I'm about to reveal to you. In John chapter 9, beginning of the chapter, it says, as Jesus went along, he saw a blind man from birth. His disciples asked him, Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind? Neither this man nor his parents sinned, said Jesus, but this happened so that the works of God might be displayed in him. As long as it is day, we must do the works of him who sent me. Night is coming when no one can work. While I am in the world, I am the light of the world. After saying this, Jesus spit on the ground, made some mud with the saliva, and put it on the man's eyes. Go, he told him, wash in the Pool of Siloam. This word means sent, so the man went and washed and came home seeing. Now, a minute ago, you mentioned the Pool of Siloam, but that was the wrong pool, wasn't it? Hadn't they discovered the wrong pool and called it Siloam before?
Yeah, it was in the 5th century AD. There's a queen, his name Avdokia, and She said, this is the Pool of Siloam, and she built a church there, but she was wrong.
She was wrong. You found the right Pool of Siloam in 2004 after a bulldozer, really a backhoe, began to scrape rocks at the bottom of the city of David. Now, ladies and gentlemen, when you go down to the city of David now and you go to the very bottom of it, that's the Pool of Siloam, or you could, there are many different ways of pronouncing it. I pronounce it Siloam, however you want to pronounce it. Eli, this discovery was so momentous that you actually got on CNN with this.
It's just amazing, Frank, we've seen CNN today, but this discovery was 2004, before 14 years ago. It's just amazing. So I was standing in the studio, and the reporter was in Atlanta, and she talked with me, about John chapter 9. What do you think about that? John chapter 9.
They're talking
Bible.
about it on CNN, yeah.
Just fantastic. You've seen site that excavate and seen site that mentioned in the Bible, and just great. It was a great interview, and I think it was great for all the people, even they're listening to CNN, they love that kind of finding.
And yes, and you found it. And by the way, friends, if you go to YouTube and type in Eli Shukron, ELISHURKON, CNN's Pool of Siloam, you will see this clip. It's about a 4 or 5 minute clip, maybe 6 minute clip.
Six minutes. It's a lot, It's a lot.
And so you discovered the Pool of Siloam, and you dated it because of the coins. You knew when it was.
Yeah, it's not just the coin and pottery and all, we have all that kind of finding that we found that we connected to the first century.
Now, Eli, before we go to the break, we're going to go to the break here in about a minute, but we got to make sure that people understand what you immediately saw when you discovered the Pool of Siloam. You understood that there had to be a path from the Pool of Siloam at the bottom of the city of David all the way to the temple. Why?
Because it must be connection.
Why?
Because Pool of Siloam was a very, very important pool in that time. You must think that we're talking about like 1 acre of pool that built as a step that the people can walk inside to the water. Think about Passover. Passover?
Yeah.
In the first century, how many people came to Jerusalem to the temple?
Thousands and thousands.
So they need to purify themselves before they go to the temple. Where they are doing that? This is the question. So here we have a huge pool, 1,000 people going up to the temple. This is the deal.
So they go from the Pool of Siloam, and it's about 2,000 feet south of where the temple was. And so there's got to be a road. There's got to be a path from that pool to that temple, but nobody had discovered it yet.
It's got to be a connection.
Yes. And that connection Eli discovered, and we're going to tell you about it when we come back from the break. We're talking to my friend Eli Shukron, Israeli archaeologist who spent 18 years digging in the city of David. He discovered the Pool of Siloam. He discovered a lot more we're going to tell you about right after the break, so don't go away. You're listening to Cross-Examine with Frank Turek on the American Family Radio Network website, crossexamined.org. Back in 2 minutes.
College campuses are hostile to the Christian faith, and 3 out of 4 young people walk away from the church once they go to college. That's why we go to college campuses and present I Don't Have Enough Faith to Be an Atheist in the United States and even all over the world. When we do this, we don't charge students a dime. That's why we need your financial support. In fact, over the past couple of years, we've been able to grow dramatically because of your generous support. And 100% of your donations go to ministry. 0% go to building. So when you give to Cross-Examined, you'll be giving to help us go reach young people where they are. Would you consider giving today? Thank you so much, and thank you so much for what you've done already.
Archaeology right in the heart of Jerusalem. My friend Eli Shukron is with me. We're talking about some of the major discoveries that he made. Before we get back to that, let me mention that I'm going to be in Florence, Alabama this Wednesday night, November 7th at Faith Church. All the details are on our website. And then next weekend, I'll be on a Saturday at Texoma Cowboy Church Community Event, or it's Texoma Cowboy Church. It's in Wichita Falls, Texas. Like, I don't know, maybe an hour and 45 minutes northwest of Dallas. I'll be there for all day Saturday, or actually it's a Saturday night event. And then for the Sunday morning event, I will be there for church. So check all that out on our website. That's this Wednesday coming up, and then next weekend, Saturday and Sunday. This weekend, or I should say this Wednesday in Florence, Alabama. Next weekend in Wichita Falls, Texas. If you're anywhere near there, love to see you. Okay, back to my friend Eli Shukron. Eli, you knew there had to be some kind of path or road from the Pool of Siloam, 2,000 feet up the hill, all the way to the temple. How did you discover this road? What happened?
It's very interesting, because I started to do the excavation close to the Pool of Siloam, and I found the stairs that taken up. It's very, very unique, because all this area was covered with destruction. The Roman destroyed everything. So we try to find the way to understand the way how that road going to the temple, and this is it. So we started to do the excavation there, and then from there we started to understand that below that street we have a huge drainage channel before 2,000 years ago, huge one, beautiful one. And you're doing the excavation, and you continue going all the way to the north, to the Temple Mount.
And as you did, Eli,
the Western Wall.
Yes, you discovered coins. What did the coins tell you along the way?
A lot of coins. We discovered a lot of coins, but the coin tell us a time, where we are in the time. It is the important, where we are in the time, and all the time, everything was fine with the time. Of course, we found a lot of different kind of findings. For example, let's say dice, arrowhead, coins, silver coin from Tyre, shekel from Tyre.
First century?
First century. It's very, very interesting, because this takes us to the tax that the people pay to the temple of shekel. So it's shekel was using for 2 person. And it's amazing. You found that in the excavation.
So you find a shekel coin that would have paid the tax for 2 people to go into the temple. You find it on the road or in the drainage channel.
In the drainage channel.
All the way up.
All the way up to the temple. Just amazing finding. You're doing excavation, channel and all this area. It's very, very, very unique, very, very interesting to understand what this area was, because if you're looking, for example, and you finding a cooking pot, completely cooking pot there in the channel, this take you about the story about Josephus Flavius, tell us about the people that was hiding from the Roman in the channel. You must understand, and this is very, very interesting, because when you're thinking about that people that was there, this is the last area in Jerusalem that taken by the Roman. But think about that. You are in the channel and you heard the Roman destroying Jerusalem. A lot of stones falling down. You heard the sandal of the Roman on the road. You smell the smell of the fire. It's huge. It's huge. And you touch that people that was sitting there and eating. And they found the oil lamp. They're using the oil lamp. This just amazing. But there in the channel, we found more finding. For example, we found the golden bell. And this very, very, very special finding.
Oh, the golden bell. Hold the golden bell for just a second. I want to say one thing about a couple other things you discovered. You mentioned dice. You found dice in the channel. Ladies and gentlemen, think about this. They gambled for his garments. Do you remember the soldiers gambling for Jesus's garments? They may have used dice that Eli found on the way to the Western Wall. And you also said the shekel coin that you discovered along the way. And the thing that amazes me is you just said that you found pots and cooking utensils basically in the sewer of the city of David, because people were living in the sewer to try and avoid being found and killed by the Romans. Ladies and gentlemen, imagine if some foreign power came into your town and you had to go into the sewer system to avoid being killed, and you're down there eating You're down there with oil lamps. You're down there trying to survive. This is what the Jews had to do in 70 AD when the Romans came in and destroyed the city and tried to kill them. And Eli, as you got closer to the Western Wall, you got closer to where the temple originally was, you say you found a golden bell.
Yeah.
Now, this golden bell, let me just say one thing about it, because if anyone's been to the city of David, when they go into the center where the welcome center of the city of David, they're going to see a hand. And in the middle of that hand is a golden bell. That hand is your hand.
Yes.
And why is this discovery so amazing?
Look, this is a golden bell. First, the golden bell. Who was going with the golden bell in the first century? This is the question, and immediately the answer is the high priest. High priest in his garment was a golden bell. And he's going to Jerusalem. In that time, you've seen the high priest is going with his garment and the golden bell on his robe. And you must understand, because today, what left from the temple? Nothing, because we know the temple destroyed. There's a mosque on the top of the area of the temple. The only artifact that we have today that we can say was in the temple before 2,000 years ago, it's the golden bell on the high priest's garment. So it was going there inside to the temple.
So the golden bell that you found probably came from the high priest's robe, and that high priest had gone into the Holy of Holies.
Yes, of course. Was there. Just to remind you, the temple and the Holy of the Holy, and what is the meaning for us, the Holy of the Holy, and what we have in the Holy of the Holy in the first century. So we know that there's a general, his name Pompeius. He's talking about what's he found in the Holy of the Holy, because the Romans want to find the treasure. They want to go inside, he just run away inside to the Holy of the Holy, because he thought that he's going to find the treasure, and go out and say, there's nothing there. It's empty. What does it mean empty? What you can say about the get to the heaven? You can make it as an artifact, or the Spirit of God is artifact, or the presence of God is artifact. No way. You cannot thinking that way. So for us as the Jewish people, it was right, because we understand that this is what we have there. But from the Roman, they don't care about that. So this golden bell was there. And this is the only artifact that we can say that was there in the Holy of the Holy, in the temple before 2000 years ago. So it's amazing. You found that, where it was look like.
Mm-hmm. So Pompey goes into the temple in Jerusalem. He doesn't find any treasure in there because, of course, the Jews couldn't have idols. They didn't have a structure. Their God wasn't made of stone. The God was spirit. The Ark of the Covenant had been long gone ever since 586 BC. We don't know where the Ark of the Covenant is. The only thing we know about that was in the Holy of Holies was the high priest, and he used to wear bells. Why? Because if they would tie a rope around him, and if they didn't hear the bells moving anymore, they would realize maybe the high priest died, and they have to drag him out because they couldn't go into the Holy of Holies and get him. So he wore bells in the bottom of his garment. And Eli, you found one of the bells.
Yeah, it's just amazing, to find something that you say, oh, was there in that place, and this is just amazing.
You also excavated under the wall, the Western Wall, of the Temple Mount.
We
near there.
Yeah. We did excavation the foundation of the Western Wall.
And you found coins there.
And this is very interesting, because we found the coins, we found oil, and found other findings that tell us the Western Wall built 20 years late in time of King Herod the Great. It's amazing, because this makes a sense, because this is what's happening in the real time, and this coin gives us to understand that. And this is amazing finding to understand. No, King Herod the Great didn't build the wall around the Temple Mount. Mm-hmm. He fixed the temple himself, but the temple itself was on the top of the mount, and all the other area was built a little bit late.
So if you Google today who built the Western Wall, you're going to see it's probably going to say Herod the Great, but you discovered coins under there from 20 AD. Herod died in 4 BC. There's no way he could have built that wall. He built the temple on top, as you just said, Eli, on top of the Temple Mount, but not the wall itself. So where Jewish people now are praying at the Western Wall, they're praying that something was built well after the temple.
Yeah, but the praying and said this is the prayer, the closer
To the Holy of Holies.
To the Holy of Holies.
Yeah,
for them, and it's fine, you know.
Yes. You also, we don't have time to cover all this, Eli, but you found Roman swords under there. You found a rock with a menorah on there. You found a token to get into the temple.
Pure to God.
Yep.
You're pure to God. You like to go to the temple. You're not pure to God, so...
You can't go in. If you had this token that said you went in the bath and you're pure, you could get in. And you found one of these tokens.
This is the deal, yeah.
You also found a chisel. What's a chisel used for?
Yeah, it's amazing because, you know, there's more than 100 years of excavation around the Temple Mount, around the wall, and no one found anything from the tools from the workers that built it.
From the workers, none?
Yeah, nothing. So this is the only chisel that they use it to chiseling the stone, to chiseling the wall, to work, you know, like a mason that's building the temple, building the Western Wall. So this is the only chisel that we found. It's amazing, touching the people that build the temple.
We wish you could show you these pictures because we're looking at them right now on our screen. But this is radio, friends. If you want to see this entire presentation that Eli and I did, it's going to be on our TV show in about a month. And if you don't have our TV show, it is on every Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern or 1 a.m. Pacific, or 1 a.m. Eastern, also 10 p.m. Pacific time. It's on the NRB network, NRB TV. So that's DirecTV channel 378. If you don't have DirecTV, it's on Roku, ROKU. It's a TV service, and you go to the NRB for National Religious Broadcasters channel, and you can see I Don't Have Enough Faith to Be an Atheist. That's our TV show. And if you don't have DirecTV and you don't have Roku, it is also on our website, crossexamined.org, at those times, 9 p.m. on Wednesday night, 1 a.m. Wednesday night, really Thursday morning. You get the idea. And watch the TV show there. Now, when we come back from the break, the next discovery no one has ever heard of, unless you've been with Eli in Jerusalem, because it hasn't been published yet. I mentioned it briefly about 6 months ago when we came back from Israel. But this discovery that we're going to talk about in the final segment by my friend Eli Shukron is mind-blowing, really. I mean, I'm not exaggerating because, well, you'll see. Don't go away, friends. We're going to be back in just a couple of minutes with my friend Eli Shukron, Israeli archaeologist who for 18 years excavated almost all of the city of David, or a good portion of it anyway. And we're going to go right into the city of David. That was Jerusalem in David's day, right after the break. So don't go away. I'm Frank Turek, CN2.
If you find value in the content of this podcast, don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, where you can find more. Just type Cross-Examine or Frank Turek on the search bar. Also, visit our website where we add new videos, articles, and free resources daily.
Let's go under the city of David, ladies and gentlemen, with my friend Israeli archaeologist Eli Shukron, who excavated this entire area beginning in 1995 all the way to 2013. Now, Eli, after you discovered the Pool of Siloam at the bottom of the city of David, and then you basically excavated the entire road from the Pool of Siloam all the way up the western side of the city of David, right to the Temple Mount, about 2,000 feet. You also discovered something near the Gihon Springs, something amazing.
Yeah, you know, it's very interesting because we're talking about the Gihon Spring. And what is the meaning of the Gihon Spring, Frank? The meaning that everything that we have today in Jerusalem started in the Gihon Spring. Mm-hmm. Everything that we have around Jerusalem started in the Gihon Spring because this is the only living water. This is the only place that the people have a living water for live in this area. So everything was built around that. So what's happening? Let's go back to the history. Let's go back to excavation. When I started to do the excavation, they told me, oh, yeah, Eli, you know, you have just 2 months to walk there, you know. Not more than that, right? Because it's spring. It's outside of the city. Because we know it. Because the Bible said that King Hezekiah bring the water inside to the city.
Through Hezekiah's tunnel.
Yeah.
Right.
But I said, okay, wherever you say. But I saying to myself, I'm going to walk there till I will reach the bedrock. I want to see everything there.
So you started to excavate all the way down to the bedrock.
I started to excavate all the way down to the bedrock, and what we found there, it's a huge. because no one found that before us. It's meant huge fortification, towers, wall, walkway, pool that cutting in the rock. Everything is there around the spring. And you remember when I started, they told me, oh, there's just 2 months. It's outside of the city. There's nothing there.
Yeah.
There's a lot there. A lot there. So if you're not checking, don't tell that there's nothing there. So this is what we did, and one gave us to understand other thing. This is the way how you're doing when you're doing excavation. This is amazing.
So you discovered what David actually did as described in 2 Samuel chapter 5. It says this: the king, David, and his men marched to Jerusalem to attack the Jebusites who lived there. The Jebusites said to David, "You will not get in here. Even the blind and the lame can ward you off." They thought David can't get in here. In other words, they were saying, this fortress is so strong, we as guards could be blind and lame, and you still couldn't get in here.
Yeah, it's amazing. But if you're coming to the city of David today, you can see how huge that fortification.
Oh yeah.
How huge that kind of fortress. The stone, the size of the stone. Let's say 5 ton. Think about 5 ton, 6 ton, 3 ton, 10 ton of stone that was part of that fortification, of that fortress that built there around the spring. But the question always, when we are talking about finding, who built that? Who built that for?
It goes all the way back to how many years ago? That fortress.
All the back to the Canaanite time, to the Middle Bronze period, and we talk about before 3,800 years ago.
Wow, 1800 BC. So this is back to the time, almost back to Abraham.
We're talking about Abraham time.
So this fortress that you discovered under the city of David goes back to Abraham. It's the fortress that David took in 1000 AD.
From the Jebusites.
And they thought he couldn't get up there, but he figured out a way to, one of his generals went up a water shaft and took the thing.
Yeah.
You found it, but then you kept digging. You didn't stop there.
I didn't stop there. I kept digging. I dig a little bit up above the Gihon Spring. And we start to walk to the south. And when we are walking to the south, we're starting to see different kind of finding. And we came inside to the place that we started to see something that carving in the rock. And you're walking, you build the construction because we are below the hills of the city.
So you had to bring in steel beams to hold up the earth.
To hold the earth and to protect ourselves. And then you started to find room by room by room by room. But in the beginning, we found a room. It's a very, very special room. Why? Because when you look on the detail in that room, there's some small pit on the floor, some all on the wall, and deepest area on the side. And then you think about that, and you say, oh, this is part of olive press. So what olive press doing there? Why they need to make olive oil there?
You found an olive press carved into the bedrock.
Yeah.
That's one room.
This one room.
Next room.
We continue walking. Next room, what we have, some platform that cutting in the rock. It's we're talking about 3 feet on 3 feet, or let's say 3 feet and a half on 3 feet, or something like that. And from the corner of that platform, there's a channel that's going all the way down to a big steps. And what it's look like, what it's connected to. So when we start to think about that, I thought that this is a place where they build an altar, and all that channel taking the blood outside of the altar.
It's a blood channel.
Blood channel.
Wow.
So we have 2 rooms.
Then you keep digging.
You keep digging. We have a storage room close to this area with a lot of jar broken on the floor. And then we start to continue walking to the south.
Yes, room after room.
Room after room. And then we go in and taking the dirt, and we see that everything was covered with the dirt and stone. Someone buried this place. It's not just a place. Someone buried that place. And then we continued. Then we found holes that you can tie animals. For example, goats, sheep, once it's old.
A little hook in the wall kind of thing.
Why need that kind of hole? Why need to tie animal? For which reason? Oh, you remember that we found the altar.
Yes, found the altar.
So maybe we're in worshiping area, but we didn't finish the excavation, so we don't understand what it's look like. So we continue, and we can say some V's carving on the floor. And then immediately, we're talking about a tripod that was building there.
You had a notch in the bedrock.
Wooden tripod.
A wooden tripod to do what?
To hang the animal. Why you need to hang the animal? To skin them.
Skin the animal, yeah.
Because you sacrifice animal, after you skin the animal, of course the skin going to the priest. It's fantastic. So you start to connect it. You see detail by detail by detail by detail, and then we can see some oil that may granite the seed of the wheat. Why? You need it for a bread.
You need a bread sacrifice too.
That's it. So beautiful, amazing. And the last finding that we found, it's very, very unique, very, very special, because what we found, we started to walk down with the dirt, and then, all this area was full of stone, and then we start to touching just smooth dirt. Someone covers something, someone protects something. And then we took the dirt, and then what we found a pillar. A pillar, and around the pillar we found the stone. So I asked myself, what does it mean, that pillar? And then I said, okay, let's go to see first what we found in the excavation, and then let's connect this pillar, what the Bible talk about. And this is very, very interesting. I think maybe let's see what we found yet. In the excavation, and then we're going to Genesis 28. Okay, Frank, let's wait.
We found the standing. You found a standing stone, which is a worship stone.
Yeah, it's a
we'll
pillar.
See. Yeah, we'll see
it's
what.
A pillar. We'll read from the Bible. The Bible gives us very, very good.
It's a pillar, but when people are on radio, they're thinking of a pillar like a column. This is more like almost
flat stone.
It almost looks like a cemetery stone, almost like that. Flat stone stood up.
Yeah. And you must understand that,
like a headstone.
Yeah, but you must understand that when we're going to read from the story about Jacob, and what the story tells us, that Jacob was sleep on the stones.
Yes.
So he cannot sleep on a pillar that made by a column. He sleep on the pillar that made by flat stone. Let's go.
You found the standing stone, the olive press, the foundation with an altar, a blood channel, cutouts in the bedrock to skin animals, to hold up a tripod, wall hole in the wall to tie animals to, and a storage room in a cave. Now, what does this all go back to? If you go to Genesis 28, remember Jacob and Jacob's ladder? He wakes up from that dream and he says, surely the Lord is in this place. I was not aware of it. He was afraid and said, how awesome is this place? This is none other than the house of God. This is the gate of heaven. And then he says, right after that, early the next morning, Jacob took the stone he had placed under his head and set it up as a pillar and poured oil on top of it, olive oil. He called that place Bethel. And this stone that I have set up as a pillar will be God's house. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Eli Shukron is with me right now. The Israeli archaeologist did not discover Jacob's stone, because this isn't Bethel. This is Jerusalem. But Eli, this is the only standing stone, worship stone, ever found in Jerusalem. And you found it. This is a temple.
Yeah, this is a worshiping area. This is a temple. This is the house of God. Look, what in the verse 22 is saying. Okay, again, Frank, I wanted to read verse 22.
It says, this stone that I've set up as a pillar will be God's house.
So the stone is the God's house.
Yes. What
it's
temple?
Amazing.
What temple is this, though, Eli?
By the finding, we take that area to the Middle Bronze period, to the
1800 BC.
Who was in that time, who was the king of Jerusalem?
Melchizedek.
So you know that Melchizedek was a king, but he wasn't just a king, he was also high priest.
Yes.
And this is, as high priest, where Melchizedek worshiping God. This is the question. So where we are, this is the beginning of the monotheism. This is the place where Melchizedek worshiping God. So when we talk about which temple we have here, we have the beginning of the monotheism. So which temple? Temple 0.
You call this temple 0 because the first temple is Solomon's temple. The second temple is Zerubbabel's and Herod's temple. You're calling this temple 0, and nobody knows about it, Eli.
Yeah, I know, but
you know about it
now, Frank. More people know about it.
Well, Eli, this discovery is amazing, and you're going to publish on it, I hope, soon.
Yeah. I will work on that. I hope that I will publish it soon. And you can get all the information about. But it's a method that take us all the way to the time of Melchizedek.
Oh, it's incredible.
And again, the pillar that set up, the stone that set up as a pillar, what is this?
It's the house of God.
Look how simple house of God in the book of Genesis.
Eli, you're
amazing,
wonderful. Eli,
amazing.
now, you and I are going to be leading the tour to Israel April 2020.
2020.
April
Good
2020.
Number, good number.
Now,
2020.
for those of you that want to learn more about Eli, and if you can't come in April 2020, you might be able to go on another tour that Eli is leading. Go to livingpassages.com, livingpassages.com. Eli, we're out of time, but this has been great, brother.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Eli Shukron. Shukron, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
All right, brother. See you.
We work hard to create great content and deliver truth and valuable insights to all of our Cross-Examined podcast listeners. If you agree, take 30 seconds out of your busy schedule to leave us a 5-star rating so more people like you can find us. Just look for the Cross-Examined Official Podcast, 3 words, on iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher. We are truly grateful for your support.